Talking with Robert Butler, who is an accountant with Lantern Accounting in Knoxville. Robert, it's good to talk to you today.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's good to be with you.
We, you know, we've discussed accounting and in the Airbnb short-term rental owners. There's always questions in any kind of small business owner. Always wondering, okay, am I doing it right? Am I counting off the right things for deductions? How do I do this with my business and accounting? And as we come to the end of 2025 and head into 2026, we'll be closing out the year here this quarter. Robert, what are some of the biggest bookkeeping mistakes that you've seen Airbnb hosts make, especially as the year end approaches?
Yeah, so one of the biggest mistakes, and there's a lot of grace for this because I feel like when you're getting your business going, you're excited, you have money coming in, you're making sure the property looks great. But when it comes to the accounting, one of the biggest mistakes is that people don't think to separate their personal expenses from their business expenses. And sometimes people don't even realize, like, you need to, and if you haven't done this, I would say do it as soon as you can, but open a business checking account. And then that way, anything that's for your business, it needs to go in the business account. Anything that's personal needs to go in the personal account. So that's one of the biggest ones to look out for. And then the other would be not properly classifying transactions. So as you're classifying things, you're making sure that it's a business expense. It's really important that everything is properly documented. So if you see money come into your bank account and you see $950, well, okay, that's $950. Oftentimes people will just say that was my income for that guest. Well, actually, Airbnb took some money out of that, and so in your books, it needs to be reflected as such. So really, if you took in $1,000 and Airbnb took $50 out, that needs to be properly accounted for. So just making sure that you're dividing up personal versus business, and then once you're classifying those business expenses, that those are getting properly categorized, because you want to make sure that if it was for your business and it's deductible, that it shows up there and then it's properly accounted for.
That's helpful, Robert. And when we're talking about books and keeping them clean and accurate, why is that so important for Airbnb owners and short-term rental owners now and even past tax time?
Yeah, well, so like I think about where we're at now. We're in October, and you've got the holidays coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and so for some people, especially if you haven't really been looking at your books that much, when you get to the holidays, you're not thinking about that. You've got schedules, you're lining up, maybe you've got kids, you're running them around, you're going to parties, you're hanging out with people, and so as you know that tax time is coming, people will often just keep kicking the can down the road, and before you know it, the year end is passed. And so for right now, I would say having it throughout the year is really important. Obviously having it by year end. So if you haven't done anything yet, I would say start now. But one of the reasons it's really important to keep them accurate and not just to do it once a year, because you don't want to just be compliant. What you want to do is have visibility throughout the year. And when you have that visibility, it gives you confidence, because most recently, and you're probably aware of this, Jeremy, interest rates went down a little bit more, mortgage interest rates. And so for people you got these entrepreneurial people that are starting Airbnbs, and they're starting a business and they're excited, and they're like seeing the revenue start to come in, and they're looking, where else can I buy one? So if you're someone that's like that, and you see a property, maybe you've had your eye on it and it becomes available, but if you're not keeping track of your books, maybe you've got a lender or you've got investors and you reach out to them, one of the first things they're going to know is, can you send us a recent profit and loss statement? Can you send us your balance sheet? And if you're like, I don't know what those are, or if you're like, I don't have that, can I send you like last year's tax return? Well, that's old information. You know, if you're bringing up 2024 tax return, maybe they'll accept that, but they're probably going to want something more recent. And so that would be one of my biggest, like, if I could say, keep it clean. You don't want to just think about it as like, I want to be compliant at the end of the year, but you're running a business. And so like, think about it like that and get excited. You're running a business. And so having those reports month over month is really helpful. If you've got investors or lenders that want to know, like, okay, you want to purchase a property, you found a great deal. Those kind of deals can come and go really quick. And so you want to be able to not be stressed out or worried, or can I get that together? I got to send it to somebody. Who am I going to send it to? If you go ahead and choose someone that can take care of you, how great would it feel? And that's a pain point for a lot of people, but you call and say, hey, I need the numbers. And so what decision makers, lenders, investors are looking for is timely information, and that helps them make a decision. Do we want to lend to you? And so that would be my answer for that. Yeah.
Okay. So new and growing hosts, what can they do right now to prepare their finances for the end of the year and tax season? Like I say, we're just about 2.5 months away from the end of 2025.
Yeah. So I would say, going back to that first question that you asked, I think starting with, make sure that if you haven't been doing that, start now. Start separating personal expenses, that you're doing that. If you don't have a business account, go ahead and get that open, get that running, and then make sure that you're tracking the income, the expenses. And I would say, like, reach out to someone that's familiar with short-term rentals, and that can start helping you to understand. There's certain things that, like, and it varies state to state with Airbnbs. There are some states that, and Tennessee is one of them, that for the most part, they file everything for you. Like, you have occupancy tax, sales tax, but you want to make sure things like that are being filed. And so I would say reach out to someone with some knowledge. And like for me, like, I'm all about learning and growing and trying to stay up to date on what's going on. I've got some Instagram pages like on social media that I've been following, Airbnb owners. So just trying to stay up to date. That's what I'm doing. So I would just encourage you guys, anyone that's watching, that you're separating those out, that you're tracking everything, and that this is also really important with the year end approaching, is do that now and don't wait till the very last day of December or to where you get into January, because there are probably things that you're not even aware of that you could do right now that would get your taxable income, because maybe your net income is at $50,000 at the end of the year, but you find that out in January. But then maybe you realize that there was something that you could have purchased, or a depreciation that you could have done on furniture, for instance, that if you would have taken that before the end of the year, would have reduced your taxable income maybe from 50,000. I mean, just throwing out numbers, but down to 40,000. So you'd rather pay taxes on $40,000 of income versus 50,000. So yeah, that would be my answer there. Go ahead and start now, and don't wait till you're in next year, because there are things you can do now that could potentially save you a lot of money.
Well, thank you, Robert. It really is good to talk to you. I mean, you've been helpful to me over the years. I really have. If folks would like to get a hold of you or talk more about potentially how a bookkeeper could help them understand short-term rentals and saving money, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is www.lanternaccountingllc.com, and that Lantern Accounting LLC, that's all one word. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn. So you can find us there. I would encourage you to go check out our website. We have just recently launched those, and so there's going to be more media, more things we're going to be putting out. So it's kind of sparse right now, but keep an eye out on it. Feel free to like and share if you're interested. And you can go into lanternaccountingllc.com. You can go down and book a consultation. It's free, 30 minutes. We can hop on a call. We can do that. And if you're local to Knoxville, I'd be happy to grab a coffee with you or grab lunch and hear about your business. What are your pain points? How can we help? But yeah, that's how to get in touch with me.
Awesome, Robert. Hey, thank you.
Absolutely.